Have you ever paused, really paused, and looked around at everything you own, everything you've done, everything you're chasing, and quietly asked yourself, do I really need all of this? In Japan, there's a simple yet profound word, Mottainai. At first glance, it translates to, what a waste. But it's not just about trash or leftovers. It's about something deeper, a reverence for the things we already have, and a quiet discomfort when we let them go, unused, unappreciated, or unloved. Mottainai is a way of seeing the world, not through the lens of lack, but through the lens of enough. It reminds us to pause before discarding, to care before consuming, and to live with a deeper sense of presence and purpose. When this philosophy is woven into the fabric of Japanese minimalism, it becomes something powerful. Not a life of deprivation, but a life of meaning. A life where less is not less, but more. If you've been feeling tired, mentally cluttered, emotionally drained, spiritually disconnected, this video might offer a breath of fresh air, a gentle invitation to return to what truly matters. Let's begin. What if every choice you make, every bite of food, every purchase, every hour you spend, carried a quiet responsibility? In Japanese culture, there's a word for this awareness, Mottainai. At its core, it's a gentle reminder, don't waste what has value. But waste here doesn't only mean trash. It's about wasting meaning, wasting time, energy, potential, wasting the quiet beauty of a moment. Have you ever thrown away leftovers and felt a twinge of guilt? Or bought something on impulse only to regret it later? That feeling, that discomfort, is the spirit of Mottainai speaking to you. It invites us to pause, to reflect, to ask, do I really need this? Is this the best use of what I already have? Mottainai teaches reverence for objects, for time, for life itself. It's not about being strict or stingy, it's about being awake, about knowing that everything we use carries energy, effort, and often a hidden story. Imagine holding a cup in your hands, not just as something to drink from, but as something that served you day after day. Imagine treating a cracked plate not as broken, but as something worth mending, worth keeping, because it's a part of your life. This philosophy isn't about guilt, it's about gratitude. It's about making mindful decisions, not automatic ones. It's about shifting from consumption to connection. When you live with Mottainai in your heart, you begin to see the world differently, not as a place to take from, but as something to care for. And in return, you begin to feel cared for too, by the quiet richness of everything already within your reach. So, how do we bring the spirit of Mottainai into our everyday lives? It begins with one small but powerful shift: living more consciously. Before buying something, pause and ask yourself, do I truly need this? Will it still matter to me a year from now? That moment of stillness between impulse and action is where Mottainai lives. We live in a world where almost everything is disposable, fast fashion, single-use everything. But Mottainai invites us to slow down and care, to repair, reuse, and respect what we already own. That old shirt with a missing button, mend it. The wooden chair that squeaks, tighten the joints and give it a second life. These acts aren't chores, they're quiet affirmations. What I have is enough, and it's worth preserving. But Mottainai isn't just about objects, it's also about our emotional energy. How often do we give our time and attention to things, or people, that leave us drained? Scrolling through news that angers us, engaging in conversations that lead nowhere, worrying about things beyond our control. Mottainai whispers, don't waste your heart on what doesn't nourish you. Instead, invest in what restores you. A slow morning, a walk without your phone, a conversation that makes you feel seen. This philosophy invites us to live slower, but not smaller. It's about creating space for meaning, for rest, for gratitude. Start with just one habit today. Maybe it's choosing not to buy something. Maybe it's fixing something instead of tossing it. Maybe it's saying no to something that doesn't align with who you're becoming. With each small choice, you bring the essence of Mottainai into your life, not as a rule, but as a rhythm, a quieter, lighter, more intentional way to live. Minimalism, for many, has become a kind of aesthetic trend. White walls, neutral tones, perfectly curated spaces. But true minimalism, especially when combined with the spirit of Mottainai, is something much deeper. It's not about throwing everything away. It's not about living with as little as possible just to prove a point. It's about caring for what you already have. It's about asking, what do I truly need? And more importantly, what do I truly appreciate? In a world that constantly tells us to upgrade, replace, consume, Mottainai minimalism is the quiet rebellion. It's the choice to fix the fraying sweater instead of tossing it. To treasure the old mug with a chip because it holds the warmth of your morning routines. To keep the chair that creaks just a little because it was passed down from someone who loved you. We don't need more things, we need more connection to the things we already own. This approach honors stories over trends, meaning over marketing. Because every item in your home that's been with you through years of growth, change, laughter, even heartbreak, has become a witness to your life. Minimalism without Mottainai can become cold, even hollow. But when we layer in gratitude and reverence, it becomes alive. It becomes sustainable, not just environmentally, but emotionally. So take a look around your space. What can you mend, not just physically, but emotionally? What have you neglected, not because it stopped being useful, but because the world told you it wasn't new enough? Let those objects remind you, you already have so much that matters. You don't need more to live more. You just need to see more deeply into what you already have. Look around your space right now. How many of the things surrounding you actually support the life you want to live? Most of us carry more than we realize, not just in our closets or drawers, but in our minds. A cluttered home often reflects a cluttered heart. And the truth is, the more noise there is around you, the harder it is to hear yourself. This is why decluttering is not just a chore, it's a form of healing. When you begin to let go of what no longer serves you, something beautiful happens. Your space begins to breathe, and so do you. Start small. One drawer, one corner. Ask yourself, do I use this? Does this bring meaning or beauty into my life? Or is it just there? Let go of the guilt that tells you to keep something just because it was expensive or gifted or might someday be useful. That's not value, that's weight. When we keep things that don't align with who we are today, we unconsciously hold on to old identities, outdated expectations, and unresolved emotions. But when you let them go, you create room, not just on a shelf, but in your spirit. Each object in your space should have a purpose and a place. If it doesn't, it's likely stealing more than just square footage. It's stealing your focus, your energy, your peace. Visual noise matters too. Even subtle clutter can overstimulate the senses, making it hard to feel calm, creative, or present. So, decluttering isn't about perfection. It's about creating clarity, a sanctuary, a space that reflects not who you've been, but who you're becoming. And in that clean, open space, your thoughts become clearer, your breath becomes deeper, and your life feels just a little lighter. Minimalism is often misunderstood. To some, it conjures images of stark white rooms, empty counters, and a life stripped bare of comfort or character. But real minimalism, especially through the lens of Mottainai, isn't about emptiness. It's about intention. It's about creating a space that breathes and speaks to who you really are. A meaningful home doesn't need to be large or expensive. It needs to feel alive. So ask yourself, what does your home say about you when no one's looking? Does it reflect your values, your calm, your stories? A peaceful space often comes from simple, thoughtful choices. A corner with a plant you water every morning. A beam of natural light filtering through a quiet room. A soft, warm hue on the wall that makes you feel at ease without knowing why. These are not luxuries. They're anchors. They hold you gently in a world that often moves too fast. Design your home not for Pinterest or perfection, but for presence. Let each room support the way you want to feel, whether that's energized, restful, inspired, or grounded. Add items that reflect your values, things that bring joy, utility, or memory. And most importantly, practice care. Make your bed slowly. Put things back where they belong. Light a candle in the evening, not for anyone else, just for you. These little rituals, done daily, become acts of quiet reverence. Because when your home feels calm, you begin to feel calmer too. And when your home holds meaning, so does your day. Minimalism isn't about taking away what you love. It's about removing what distracts you from it. What if I told you? The path to needing less isn't about discipline. It's about gratitude. In Japanese minimalism, Simplicity isn't just about clearing space, it's about honoring what remains. And at the heart of it all is a quiet, profound practice. Being deeply thankful for the small things. Think about the cup you drink from every morning, the towel you reach for after washing your face, the clean floor beneath your feet. These simple items support your life, day after day, without ever asking for recognition. They may not be flashy or expensive or new, but they're loyal and they serve you. And when you start to truly notice them, to silently thank them, something shifts inside you. You begin to feel full, not from having more, but from appreciating better. This is the quiet magic of gratitude. When you nurture it daily, you begin to need less. Not because you're depriving yourself, but because your heart is already full. We often wait until something is broken or lost to appreciate it. But Japanese minimalism asks, what if we didn't wait? What if we gave thanks now for the things we use every day? The things that make life just a little easier, a little softer, a little more livable? Gratitude is the soul of simplicity. It grounds us. It opens our eyes to the richness already around us. And in that richness, we begin to see we were never lacking to begin with. Sustainability isn't just about saving the planet. It's about living in alignment with your values, your priorities, your inner peace. In the philosophy of Mottainai, sustainability begins with one simple idea: don't waste what still holds value. And in today's fast-moving throwaway culture, that mindset is more powerful than ever. You don't need to become perfectly eco-friendly overnight, but you can begin with gentle, intentional choices. Start by looking at the items you use every day. Could that plastic water bottle be replaced with a reusable one? Could that paper towel become a washable cloth? These tiny swaps, though they seem small, carry a ripple effect. Each one says, I'm paying attention. You can also start honoring your time and resources more deliberately. Take shorter showers. Fix that leaky faucet. Plan your meals so food doesn't go to waste. Buy what you need, and only when it adds lasting value to your life. And ask yourself, am I spending my energy on what truly matters? Time is one of the most overlooked resources we waste. We chase busy schedules, say yes to too many things, and lose hours on screens that leave us empty. But what if we reclaim just a bit of that time for what restores us? A quiet breakfast, a mindful walk, a moment of reflection. Sustainability, at its core, isn't about perfection. It's about intention. It's about making conscious, caring decisions. One breath, one item, one moment at a time. Because when you start treating every resource, your time, your food, your water, your energy, as something sacred, life becomes richer. Not because you have more, but because you're finally present with what you already have. What if I told you, the smallest choice you make today could shift the direction of your life? We often think that change has to be big, bold, immediate, but real lasting transformation, the kind that brings peace, clarity, and meaning, almost always begins quietly. It begins with awareness. Living mindfully means learning to notice again, to pay attention, to realize that even your smallest actions have a ripple effect on your body, your home, your community, and your inner world. Think about it, swapping out a single-use plastic bag for a cloth one, turning off the faucet while brushing your teeth, planning your meals so no food goes to waste, or simply choosing to pause before saying yes to one more thing you don't actually have space for. Each of these actions may seem insignificant, but collectively, they create momentum, a shift in the way we live, choose, and care. The truth is, we are constantly shaping the world around us through the things we buy, the habits we practice, the energy we give. When you begin to see every choice as an opportunity to align with your values, life becomes more grounded and less chaotic. Start where you are. You don't need a complete life overhaul. Just pick one area, a drawer, a routine, a habit, and bring your full attention to it. Ask, does this reflect who I truly want to be? Living mindfully doesn't mean being perfect. It means being present. And when you are present, every moment becomes meaningful. Every choice becomes powerful. Because the future you long for isn't waiting in some distant place. It's being shaped gently and steadily in the smallest decisions you make today. Sometimes the most powerful wake-up calls don't come from outside. They come in quiet moments. when life finally slows down enough for us to hear them. Mottainai is one of those gentle wake-up calls. It's not loud, it doesn't demand anything, it simply whispers, look around, stop wasting, you already have enough. But we don't just waste food or time, we also waste ourselves. We give our energy to people who don't listen. We speak words that don't matter, just to fill the silence. We clutter our space, our minds, our hearts, with things that no longer serve us. What if we stopped? What if we began to see every interaction, every space, every word as something sacred, worthy of intention, not impulse? This is the deeper truth behind Mottainai. It's not just about resources, it's about you, your presence, your peace, your worth. It reminds us to stop scattering ourselves, to return to what's real, to what's already here. You don't need to do more, be more, prove more. You just need to come home, to yourself. Take a quiet moment today. Sit with one object you own and love, not because it's expensive, but because it carries a memory. Reflect on how much it's already given you, and then ask, what else in my life have I overlooked in the noise? When you choose to live with attention, even the simplest parts of your life begin to glow. You are not lacking. You are simply being called to notice what's always been enough. Mottainai isn't just a beautiful word from another culture. It's a way of returning to ourselves, a quiet, mindful invitation to live with care, to live with gratitude, and to live with enough. In a world that keeps telling us to want more, do more, be more, Mottainai gently reminds us that we already have so much that matters. And perhaps what we're really longing for isn't more stuff, it's more stillness, more meaning, more space to breathe. Living richly doesn't come from having everything. It comes from feeling connected to what you already have, from the mug that warms your hands each morning to the time you spend with people who truly see you. This is where real abundance lives. So, start small. Mend something instead of throwing it away. Choose to walk instead of scroll. Appreciate instead of replace. These simple acts, though quiet, are deeply powerful. They say, I am awake. I see what I already have. I choose to live with care. When you live with that kind of awareness, life begins to soften. You begin to feel lighter, not because you've let go of everything, but because you've kept only what truly matters. So, if there's one thing to take away from this journey, let it be this. Waste less, live more. Not someday, not when things slow down, but right now, right here, starting with exactly what's already in your hands.